we set up? What do you think? Can we live healthier and longer with AI, or should I say in this conference, generative AI? What do you guys feel? Maybe yes, maybe no? Yes, excellent. That's a can-do attitude we want. So, let me see if I can figure out what's happening here. Okay. That's not as big as we would have hoped. Can you help me set it up? Okay. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to try and figure out with you what is the opportunity today, and tell a little bit what we do with Maccabi. זה נפלא. Okay, thank you. Okay. And then we're going to go to the main course and see a little bit about the algorithm, right? This is a bit more of a technical crowd. You want to see the Gen AI that we're using. So we'll start with what we're planning to do with Maccabi. So we have an app that's supposed to help you live a healthier life, evidence-based. We'll see how it works. We have a dashboard for the medical staff, and we have the AI behind it. So a couple of minutes to understand where we are today. So the world is getting older. We have many more people above 65, and that is apparently not only a pain for people who are aging, experiencing more disease. This is also a problem for society. They cost more. People that have chronic disease cost 5 times more. And this is something that is increasing. While our lifespan has increased, our health span has not. Now, everybody wants to be healthy, and everybody wants to live longer, but only if we stay healthy, right? So how do we solve it? Well, if you ask the CDC, they're going to tell you 80% of unhealthy years are basically 5 chronic diseases. You can predict them 5, 10, maybe 20 years in advance. And these are $3 trillion, more than 75% of the budgets of healthcare systems. So how do we help people live more healthy lives, more healthy years? So how is it done today? Well, the leading cause of death in the world is heart disease, okay? And when we go to a doctor and we ask them, well, doctor, am I at risk? They would say, well, let me analyze it with the Framingham score. It's a score that is done 70 years ago on a little village called Framingham, 5,000 people, not ethnically diverse, 50% smokers, almost no risk factors. This is what we will call in this room biased data, right? And that's what is applied today on any of us in Israel from that little village in the States. So what can we do about it? So together with Maccabi, we looked at the electronic medical record that had on each of us thousands of parameters. And luckily enough, here in Israel, we have it 20, maybe 30 years back. By the way, that's why Pfizer chose us, right? We can analyze the data in retrospect and not in a fragmented data system. And that's the opportunity, by the way, of health tech startups to start in Israel. So we took thousands of parameters, starting from your DNA, which accumulates 10 to 30% of the risk, but mostly it's up to us. Mostly it's up to our lifestyle, mostly it's up to our blood measurements and wearable measurements, which are influenced from our daily decisions. So we know about the data, we know how we can make it from something more broad to something more narrow, less variance, more statistically significant. And when we know what we're looking to improve, which biomarker we're looking to improve, we can make it actionable, right? Maccabi, which is in charge for our health, but they also need to keep the cash in one place. They know where they can invest the money and get healthy years and actually save on the big box of cash that they're holding. RI positive. Of course, people enjoy healthier lives. Families enjoy a better quality of life. Governments enjoy less burden of disease. So we can go on and on. I'm just going to give you 2 more slides, and then we're going to get to the main course. For me, my passion, I'm a data scientist. I'm also the CEO of the company, but my passion is data science, and in a moment we're going to see the algorithm. So it's not enough just to know what we can do to live a healthier life, right? Everybody knows that. We can Google top 10 advice. We can ask ChatGPT what can they do to lower blood pressure, but we don't do it, do we? The challenge is what kind of lifestyle is good for us, but also what we will actually do. And we human beings are limited machines. We do it in small steps, small behavioral challenges. And this has to be something that we like. Otherwise, we're not going to do it. We're not going to achieve longevity and healthier years by 5 minutes of exercise. So we take the potential. We understand by ranking of how many healthy years each habit can get us. And we cross it with information about our passions. From our phones, we know how many steps we take. We know if it's connected to my Calm app or to my Headspace app or to my Nike app. And we know what we liked, and we know what we like and what we're likely to do. And then the match is on the expected healthy years. It's the potential healthy years times the chance that it will happen, all right? It's like a classic problem of personalized content. So what if we would imagine our medical tech, our life companion, our coach for health, that will know us not as classic medical tech, that will know us as good as YouTube or Netflix knows us, right? That's the challenge we want to achieve. And we're going to cut from the deck to something which, for me, let's see, here in my laptop, it's a bit harder to navigate. Let's see if I can do it swiftly. This is for, you know, like in a TV series, it's like a cliffhanger. All right. And here we go. I'm going to try and operate it from here. Okay, but this is what I want. Okay, so here we see the raw data. So our AI surfs the net and gets AAA validated, as they call it, evidence-based medicine information. For example, PubMed, all medical information is freely published there. And what isn't working? מיקרופון לא עובד. 1, 2, hot time. All right. So we have all this information, but if we take medical experts, professors in computer science, professors in all the conditions like diabetes, heart, cancer, professors in behavioral science, what would they say? Well, they will say to structure it. Here you can see on the left-hand side, you see all the raw information coming in. So you see, for example, all the blood measurements that were ever AAA validated to connect to longevity, to our longevity. All the genes, all the 73 ACMG genes from American College of Genetics and Genomics, means it's validated and safe to use, and 200 extra genes that we want to use if we're in a clinical trial. With wearable, we're working with a hospital here in Israel, now planning a new longevity clinic with Ichilov, and we're very happy to also be working with a representative of Apple to get all the raw data from the watches and to include wearable data in a clinical standard, meaning if there is an error range, we draw a trend from the doctor, for example, for steps, only when it exceeds the error range, right? So each parameter has a challenge of how can it be clinically usable. So I can go on, but I want to cut to the chase. So we have microbiome, epigenetics, physical examination, medical procedures, all of our medication history. On the right-hand side, the professor said, let's think of all the opportunities to help people with their lifestyle. So we see here all the opportunities to help with activity and nutrition and mind. We're now working with professors and doctors, Professor Giladi, Dr. Noah Bergman, Dr. Tamara Scheiner. They are heading the departments of dementia in Ichilov. And they're saying, well, there are specific parameters that we can detect 5, 10, 20 years in advance, all of the dementia concerns. That's like 1/5 of the problem. So here we see opportunities to monitor, and here we see opportunities to intervene. And in the center, it's my favorite part, something that we can find interesting here in this room, is the data science. It's how does it all come together? So if we go in, for example, and look at cardiovascular, all right? Or we look here and look at diabetes. So we see all the opportunities to understand in medical evidence, in an evidence-based way. So we see each parameter here, and we see the actual resource here. You can't really see it, but you're going to have to trust me. On the right-hand side, the screen is too narrow. You're going to see that each of them is a scientific paper. It's, for example, was published in Nature. It has a specific population, gender. Most papers until 20, 30 years ago were on white males. There are more human beings on this planet. And now we have a paper for different genders, different ages, different countries, different habits. Do you walk? Do you sleep enough? Each of those has a change in efficacy, in statistical significance about the data. And the doctor, the researcher, can always go and say, hey, let's actually look at the research paper. And each line you see, let me move it to the center stage for you. And each paper you can actually see what it means and what it's drawing for. So what does it all mean? So we go back to here. When we want to apply on this network of information, basically, and each node is an element and each edge is a piece of information in natural language, right? Ding dong. Generative AI. So what can we do? We have evidence-based medicine, and we let our generative AI run through it and help doctors understand in real time, according to evidence, what can be done. There's a dashboard for the doctor. There's an app for each of one of us that in real time can tell us what is something that we like to do that will actually help us. This is the evidence-based medicine area. And if we want to explore a bit further, you can take a zoom out and look at all of the available literature and let the large language model run all this information and get even further data. Now, one question for the audience. What is the difference between an LLM and ChatGPT, and how does it apply here? Who knows a little bit about the difference? ChatGPT, LLM, is interactive, correct. It's connected to the internet. It's part of the family of LLMs, right? But an LLM can be not connected to the internet. So if we're looking at medical data, privacy, security, regulation, what would you choose? LLM. So what we want to do, we want to take the amazing opportunity and amazing products that come to us recently, like ChatGPT, but we want to take this type of technology, also produced by OpenAI, by the way, one of the variations, of large language models that are not connected to the internet, and keep our privacy, and keep the information within our control. All of it, by the way, of course, anonymous. So when we're talking about generative AI, I think we can look at many different opportunities. In health tech, we should probably use evidence-based medicine. And when we're coming to choose the tool, we should probably choose a tool which keeps our privacy safe. And that's what we do in Longevity AI. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to visit me after, right? No time for an additional question from the audience. All right. So I'll be here. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.